All right. Good morning, traders. Good morning, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land, everybody here in the room at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there that follows and likes and shares and gives me the thumbs up and leaves kind comments. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you so much. Special shout out to John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy Sarah Roasted, everyone that shares my content. Thank you, everyone, for following me on my journey. Appreciate that. Love that as well. All right, let's drill down. Before we drill down, let's get into some announcements. All right, we got some stuff coming up. Today, member e-learning in the combo room. All right, that's going to start at noon with Doug Campbell. I will probably be in there all day. All right, so not all day, starting at noon, but probably from noon till 3. So if you don't see any activity in the BYOB trading room, it's probably because I'm in the combo room listening to the education. Thank you so much. All right, so member e-learning topic today is stop losing money, critical mistakes, and how to avoid them. All right. That's one thing. Let's start the next one here. Open house Monday, September 8th. Starts at 8 o'clock. All right. Got to say the last 5 open houses, we've produced 1% or greater, and 1% is our goal here at BYOB to try to make every single day. So 1%. That's what we're looking for. Going to start a new 27K account. All right. Look forward to seeing everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land out there. By the way, I will leave a link in the description. All right. For the open house. All right. So thank you, everybody that registers for the open house. All right. Let's drill down to some. Let's look at what happened yesterday and. Give me just a second here. And that's going to be right here. And it's got to come up. There we go. All right. All right. So, good morning. My SPY pivot this morning is 642.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. IWM. Everybody, I think, made higher highs and higher lows. IWM made a higher high and a higher low. Closed inside a bullish trap over the 17. SPY made a higher high, higher low. Closing inside a bearish trap over the 17. Diamond Down made a higher high and a higher low. Closing under a bullish trap, but over the 17. QQQ made a higher high and a higher low. Closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. FNGU made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Okay, you guys know my favorite trade. All right, because it may manifest here today. All right, 10-minute uptrend inside of a 2-hour uptrend, inside of a daily uptrend. That's inside of a weekly uptrend. That's inside of the monthly uptrend. All right, all over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that right there, that's my favorite trade. All right, so it may manifest today. Just letting you know, that's my favorite setup right now. 6 months from now, probably not going to have all of those larger time frames supporting my 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. So there's my favorite trade because it may manifest or present itself later today. Silver in an uptrend made a new 12-year high. Gold in an uptrend made a new all-time high. USO in an uptrend made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap and under the 17 EMA. UNG made a higher high and a higher low, closing above a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. US dollar index still in the downtrend, closed near 98.16. SPY max pain is 642. That's for all the options for SPY that expired today. Just the ones that expired today. All right, so put to call ratio 642 is supposedly max paying. Put to call ratio of about 1.1 put for each call that expires today. Remember, those index options expire around 4:15. Okay, all of these down here should be uptrends. These should be securities that are in uptrends above the 17. If they have a little star next to them, means they're building a launch pad from which to launch off of and move higher. All of these are bearish downtrends. They should be in bearish downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a little star next to them, then most likely they're building a platform from which to make another leg lower. All right, so these are, if they got a star, they're building a platform that it would be a consolidation base that moves over to the right. This would be a, over here, these would be building consolidation base that moves over to the right. All right, whereas they're expecting price to rip off or launch off of that base from here to drop lower off that platform. Okay, so these are bulls, these are bears. All right, let's take a look at some charts this morning. Let's start off with SPY. All right, daily candle right here. This is the one. Higher low, higher high, closing inside that bearish trap. Notice the 3 EMA crossed under the 8 EMA here. So inside that bearish trap, but over the rising 17 there. Okay, if we back way out, okay, you're going to see we're at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. We have not made any lower lows, so we are still in an uptrend. This is still bullish and in an uptrend right there. Okay, so let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ, same deal. Higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap. Notice the 3 crossed underneath the 8. Inside a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA right here. Okay, if we look at this, has not made a lower low, so still in an uptrend, still at the top of quadrant 4. That is bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. Again, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross. Okay, see the 3 EMA comes from down here and crosses back up over bullish cross. Okay, and over the 17 EMA. Okay, FNGU still in a downtrend. They got themselves in a downtrend by taking out this little low right here, okay, or this low right here, either one. Okay, they got themselves in a downtrend. But the good news is, ever since making the lower low, they have not been moving lower. All right, they've either been moving up or over to the right. Okay, so there's a downtrend that's really not working. All right, so there's FNGU. You can see we're consolidating at the top of quadrant 4. That is bullish up there. And you can see price action. Again, still in a downtrend, but definitely that downtrend is not working because all we've been doing is moving to the right or to back up to the high. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM, same thing. Higher low, higher high. Closing inside of a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Up here in the middle of quadrant 4. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. Hasn't made a lower low. Okay, unlike FNGU, it made a lower low. The others have not. Okay, so there's IWM, Diamond Dow. All right, price action for Diamond Dow is higher low, higher high, closing under a bullish trap, but over the rising 17 right here. Top of quadrant 4, that's bullish, has not made a lower low, so we're still in an uptrend. So market's still very healthy, still bullish, all right? Do get some concerns when I start looking at the technicals over here. T2122, we are losing breath in this bullish market. Okay, it's dropping right now. Okay, so don't know how low it's going to go, but You can see on Tuesday, all right, or Friday, all right, they wiped out all of the breadth of the prior 4 days of price action moving up. That was on Friday. We lost all that breadth. This would be Tuesday. That's Wednesday right there. We still have not produced Thursday. See how the breadth is starting to drift away. Okay, so we're getting less and less participation, all right, right now. So there's T2101, T2122. We came out of the buy zone, landed, right here, came out of the buy zone and landed in the buyer's chop zone, and we chomped around inside the buyer's chop zone for almost all day, made a couple of appearances here in the seller's chop zone, but all in all, the bulls kicked us out, and we wound up finding and camping out inside the buyer's chop zone all day for T2122. Like to see us got a little higher low here, looking like a possible higher high here. Like to see us find a way back into the buy zone, and it's looking good to find our way back into the buy zone. Hopefully we get up there and camp out all day. We'll see what happens. That's T2122. Let's take a look at T2123. Again, new rally high, actually new all-time high up there. Bullish gap up. The bears did fill the gap on T2123. Okay, still up over the rising 200 SMA. Still in an uptrend and still bullish up there on T2123. Let's look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, you can see on the 3-bar chart, new all-time highs up here, up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Okay, up here at the top of quadrant 4, also bullish because it's making new all-time highs. Still in an uptrend. We have not made any lower lows. We would have to take out this low down here. This is the only one that protrudes below the 17 EMA. So we would have to take out this low to produce a downtrend. Right now we're up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. And at the very top of quadrant 4, also bullish, and we're in an uptrend. Let's take a look at FNGU. FNGU did some nice performance for us yesterday. Okay, price action gapped up. Notice the bears did not fill the gap on the FNGU. All right, showing some strength from the bulls or weakness on the bears' part. For the most part of the day, we spent it above VWAP. This is the gold or the burnt brown line, okay, right there. So we spent most of them, you see the candle bars, spent most of them up over VWAP. Spent a little time underneath it for 3 or 4 martinis there, and then we managed to climb back up on top of VWAP before end of day, closing the day strong. All right, a little bit over this consolidation of this bear flag base right over here. Okay, so consolidation over consolidation, that's a bullish environment. So if I can map that out, let's see if it's working. Here would be, try it again. Oh my God, I can't stand this. This does this to me all the time. Let's see if I can get this fixed. Oh, jeez. Task manager. All right, Epic Pen. And task. Let's try it again. It's coming. Bear with me. Bear with me. It's going to be right here pretty soon. There it is. Okay, let's get the boxes. Okay, consolidation. See this bear flag? Price moves down and over here. So you can see this consolidation. All right, winds up being underneath all of the price, most all of the price action from yesterday and the post-market and the pre-market, okay? That is a bullish environment right there, okay? I will look to be bullish on the first 10-minute uptrend, all right? I'll be looking for that 10-minute uptrend, all right, because I see bullish environment. I see a gap up, all right, which is bullish gap up, and bears can't fill the gap, and I also see price consolidating above the 200 SMA on the 15-minute chart. Also more bullish consolidation. Like to see price come all the way up here. All right, let's put a line in. Okay, all the way up here. See where this open gap is there. I like to see price come up there, challenge the open gap, possibly fill the open gap up there. We'll see. We got this little open gap right there. I like to see price fill that open gap, maybe even test that breakdown candle high. We'll see what happens, all right? There's FNGU, that is bullish, with a little bit of a ceiling up here and a little bit of a floor down here. We may see a lot of consolidation early this morning, okay? Maybe it just flip-flops all morning long till about after the European session, all right? That's a possibility because I'm looking at the ceiling, I'm looking at the floor. There's a possibility we just move to the right for about 4 hours before, and then after the European session closes, we may have a breakout, hopefully to the upside, all right? Just saying that's a possibility. I'm still interested in trading those 10-minute uptrends, though, okay? So there's FNGU on the 15-minute. That's bullish, all right? So look for those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Okay, let's trash that out. Let's go take a look at SPY. Let's come back over here and let's look at with the 5, okay? And let's look at SPY. Okay. All right, SPY we got today in the pre-market in the morning. Okay, we've got price action from yesterday, okay, right here. For the most part, this is yesterday's price action. Okay, this is post-market price action, okay, right there. See that? Consolidation over consolidation. Then we got again more price action, all right, in the morning hours, more consolidation over consolidation. Okay, that's bullish. All of this is bullish right through here. Okay. Yesterday we had a scenario where we had a bearish gap down from the previous day. Okay, we could not fill the gap during the open session. All right, so we had a bearish gap down. The bulls weren't quite strong enough then to fill the bearish gap down, and the bears were not quite strong enough here to fill the bullish gap up that we provided yesterday. Okay, so we got a bullish gap up. The bears failed to fill the gap. Now let me just say, they came within pennies of filling the gap, and that was a bullish clue right there. And then at the very end of the day, we had this rip right back up over VWAP, back to the high of the day up here. So really strong close, and then consolidating up at the highs. Anytime you see price move up and hold the higher ground, that is a bullish stance. That is a bullish environment. That is a bullish outlook. And here we are again, okay? When the morning session opened, we gap up higher again, and we are consolidating at the highs up here, okay? That is a bullish outlook. That is a bullish stance right there. Okay, so for this morning, when I trade SPY, what I will be doing is putting a line here at the bottom, okay? This would be the overnight consolidation there. This would be the morning consolidation there. I will be looking for a breakout. Probably will not be interested in trading because of the bullish outlook, a breakdown to the downside, only because I have my 2-hour uptrend, my daily uptrend, my weekly uptrend, my monthly uptrend. I'm really not crazy about trading counter trend. All right. I'm more interested in trading with the trend. I may wait for that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Now, they may come down and want to spike VWAP, okay, where VWAP left off yesterday. That would be this area right here. Actually, let me take that off. I'm going to circle it. Delete that. Let's box this in, okay? See where VWAP lines up across here? It's kind of where I have my pivot right there. See this line right here? So they may want to come down. They may pull back, spike this, spike the pivot, all right? And then wind up J-hooking out of there back up to the highs, okay? That's what I'd be looking to see happen if they can possibly pull back to this area, okay? But that would be my target if price got below these lows in the, in the pre-market. If it got below down here in the pre-market, probably be a pullback to VWAP here and then a move up, all right? That's what I'd be looking for. Okay, so there's SPY. I'm looking for a J hook right off of the pivot right here, okay? If we get a pullback, I'll be looking for that 10-minute uptrend to manifest way down here. I'll be looking for that to break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, all right? So I can jump in on that trade and trade it all the way back up to the highs. All right, we'll see what happens. Don't forget we got gap fill right here. So they're probably going to come down, fill the gap today, probably. All right, being since it's kind of in the middle of the overnight action range. See how the high is here, the low is here. So possible gap fill today. It doesn't mean there's any weakness on the bulls part if the bears happen to fill the gap. All right. Remember, they're still consolidating up here at the highs, okay? So there's SPY on the 5-minute. Let's take a look at the game plan, all right? On the game plan for today, SPY pivot 642.50. Notice, see the VWAP right here? That's my pivot, all right? So I would expect a $1.25 bounce at a minimum off of the pivot right here, okay? So look for price to probably bounce off that pivot, 642.50. It may start out underneath it and bounce back up through it. All right. So once you find the bottom there on the 2-minute chart and you see bullish engulfing, chances are we're going to head off for a $1.25, maybe more bounce. All right. Actually looking for this to J hook off of here. Okay. So there's SPY pivot 642.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Okay, got a 10-minute red erases green underneath 640.50. Okay, so this would be the green all the way up to the top. If the bears wipe out everything that the bulls did, okay, and get below this, that would be a bearish entry below 640.50. Let me just say something. 640.40, 640.50 has been pretty good support recently. Now, I don't know how many times it's going to hold up, okay? You cut back and forth across it too many times and it turns into Swiss cheese, and the next thing you know, it's no longer support anymore, okay? Just saying that, but it has been pretty reliable support and resistance. When we were underneath it, it provided nice resistance. When we were above it, it provides nice support. As you can see, price pulls back. And you can see where it consolidates here, and they just can't drill it down to fill the gap right here. So this is 640.50, 640.40 right there. Okay, it's been very good support and very good resistance when you're underneath. See how price got up there right here, and then price backed off. So we'll see what happens. All right, so there's SPY. Okay, I like game plan. I like 1 day till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5 that are $2 to $3, actually $2 to $15 out of the money strikes. Okay, I like the Friday options because they got more open interest. Okay, and on the multiple of 5, they also have more open interest than the other days in between. All right, so I also like $3 to $15 out of the money. Now, I'm not opposed to trading zero DTEs. You have to trade whatever's fitting for you. Now, remember, you're going to get more performance out of something that's in the money. All right, you're going to get much better performance. All right, you're also going to get much better performance from an option that has very little time left in it. Okay, so a zero DTE in the money option will almost provide you penny for penny performance. Okay, it'll be as close as you're going to get to penny for penny performance for the most of the time. Okay, when it's in the money option. All right, that is in the money, and it's zero DTE. All right, so just saying. Now, if a 10-minute uptrend, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like them when they're breaking up, and away from VWAP. All right, in other words, they're separating themselves from VWAP. All right, I like 10-minute downtrends that are breaking down and away from VWAP. In other words, I see the separation from VWAP and the price action. Okay, so I like uptrends and downtrends. If a 10-minute uptrend happens to manifest down here near the pivot, maybe even down here at the red line or under the red line, and it breaks the bullish rubber band 10-minute rubber band candle, I will be highly interested in trading it to the upside, even though it's well below our green erases red entry. All right, if it breaks the rubber band candle, I'll be highly interested in trading it to the upside. Probably not too interested if it gets underneath 640.50, 640.40, because that's been that's been support. So if we get underneath that and that acts as resistance because we're now underneath it, probably not so much. But I'm just saying that if one happens to manifest like down here or in here, I would be interested in trading it to the upside if it breaks the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, same on the downside. All right, if I get a 10-minute downtrend that happens to manifest, but let me just say this right now with a little caveat. I'm really not interested in trading counter trend. Okay, it's a good recipe to mess up your account. All right, not that interested in trading counter trend, but I have been known to take a few sometimes. All right, as long as I'm not sitting on support. Okay, so if I get a 10-minute downtrend that happens to manifest long before 640.50 red erases green entry, okay, I may be interested in trading it to the downside as long as it breaks the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle to the downside. Okay, just saying that doesn't mean I have to wait for 640.50 to trade puts down here. Okay, I'm not opposed to trading puts down to the support line or down to the pivot area. Okay, I am reserved on that because I just want to say markets are bullish. All of the larger time frames have been bullish, so I will be trading counter trend. Okay, I'm not a big. That's not probably. It's probably something I probably should avoid. All right, and hence I'm saying that right up front. Probably not going to trade a downtrend unless it breaks 640.40. Okay, probably not. All right, that's on SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. Alan, thank you for sharing the employment report. QQQ pivot 568.95. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Got a red erases green entry down here. Underneath, price underneath 567. We have a green erases red entry. All right, that would be, see all of this red. Green erases it over 571.55. Green over. Okay, see how we get over the flag over here. If we get above this, okay, probably free to come all the way up here and start challenging the open gap on this breakdown candle high up there. Okay, I like 1 DTE. This is QQQ. I like 1 DTE and 8 DTE. Okay, days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5 with strikes $2 to $10, $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. And the same thing that I said about SPY, all right, about taking 10-minute uptrends below the green erases red entry, okay, applies to QQQ as well, okay? Again, if I'm going to take a 10-minute uptrend, I want it to break that bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, all right, down here, all right, and trade back up to the resistance right up there, okay? So there's QQQ, there's SPY game plans. Let's take a look at the economic package. Actually, we'll look at 2 other things here. Let's go look at SLV, okay? Okay, so there's silver on the daily chart, okay? Again, this is yesterday's candle. See that little red sword up in the air? Okay, new 12-year high, SLV, right there, okay? That's bullish, that's in an uptrend. Price kind of pulling back, all right? And I would look for it to pull back to that high right there. And then J-hook off of that minor support and back up to challenge the highs, okay? So we're getting a little pullback now. Look for support to manifest or present itself either right here at 35.49 or possibly here right at 35.96. And it may manifest right here in the open gap right there. So look for support to manifest either on the top of this doji, inside this open gap here. Look for a J hook to present itself on silver. I think silver goes higher. All right, silver's looking really strong up there. GLD, okay, GLD, same thing. Sword, again, look for support to manifest or present itself right through here, okay, in the open gap. Maybe the top of the open gap, okay, maybe the bottom of the open gap, maybe right here on maybe the top, probably the bottom of the open gap right here, okay? Because I'm looking at this high over here, and they kind of line up right there. So right around 618, 318, okay? Look for J-hook to manifest itself. Okay, a little exhaustion right there, pullback rest, and then maybe a J-hook up out of here, back up to challenge the sword highs, okay? That's a new all-time high made yesterday on GLD. Let's take a look at UNG. This is yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the hooking 17 EMA, still down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish. Still have not made any higher highs. All right, so we're still in a downtrend. Okay, we're in a downtrend that's having a pullback. All right, not all candles in a downtrend have to move down. You can have a pullback in a daily downtrend. That's what we are experiencing right now, is a pullback in our daily downtrend. If we take out this high right here, okay, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. Okay, that's UNG. Let's take a look at USO, and then we'll move on to the economic package. USO, lower high, lower low, closing underneath, bullish trap, and underneath the flat 17 here. Okay, it's in an uptrend right now. They may negate it by trading below, see this valley low there, below the 17. They may negate it, and it looks like that they will, because I can see price action got below it. So the uptrend was a short-lived uptrend, and you can see price giving it up, okay? USO got a habit of doing this. It goes up, and then it gives it up. It goes up, and then it gives it up. It goes up, look, and gives it up. It goes up again, and gives it up, okay? I had hopes it was going to get into the upper third and hold the higher ground. Still not ready, all right? USO, petroleum, still not ready, okay? Must be those electric vehicles. I don't know what's going on, but I haven't been. This has been struggling to get bullish for years now. Okay, maybe it's all the EVs. Maybe they are making a positive impact. I don't know. Okay, but here's USO price action up over all-time. 3-year high. This is a post-COVID rally right there, over the 3-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's bullish right there. But right now, they're neutral because they're not in the upper third and they're not in the lower third. Okay, so they're in between. So they're in the neutral zone right here. And again, they have a habit of moving up and giving it up. They just can't seem to hold the higher ground. Okay, and maybe they're not ready yet. Okay, so there's USO, and they are in an uptrend, but due to this candle and the pre-market action right here, that's going to negate the uptrend and convert the downtrend by taking out this low right here, and they got a lower low, so that now they're in a downtrend again. All right, so there's USO. All right, I'm going to take a look at Alan shared some ADP employment report. The actual was consensus range, I guess, for private payrolls was a boost in employment anywhere from 60,000 to 100,000. The actual was 54, so we came in short on that one. All right, so we did not do as well as we expected on the jobless claims. Okay, we expected a consensus range of anywhere between 225,000 and 235,000. Well, we exceeded initial jobless claims, meaning more people filed for unemployment or no job than we expected. So we were on the high end of that range and exceeding it at 237 was the actual count. Okay. All in all, I don't think it's bad, but the market may react to it. All right. I don't find that to be disturbing at all. I think the market has been going is running hot. I think we're firing on. If we got an 8-cylinder engine, I'd say we're firing on at least 7 of the 8, if not 8 of the 8 cylinders. The market is running good. All right, as far as I can see, I don't see any signs of slowing. All right, but this may be a small clue. I don't know. We'll see. For me, it's not enough. All right, 2,000 more than what the consensus range on jobless claims. Not really a deal breaker for me. I'm still bullish. All right, and the employment report. Just because we're light, well, I got to tell you, we're light because we don't have as many unemployed people. All right, that's why. All right, I think there's a labor shortage here in the USA. All right, so I'm not disturbed by it at all, but the market may read into it. We can take a look and see what SPY is doing right now. See if they got freaked out over it. Again, I'm still expecting this to pull back to support. Okay, so, and that'd be back to the pivot, if not the open gap. All right, so no surprises there. Okay, bullish for Fed cuts, definitely bullish for Fed cuts. Yes, definitely I'm bullish on Fed cuts. All right, let's take a look at the economic package. Let's wrap this up. All right, so we can get it out there for everybody in podcast land and digital land. US dollar in a downtrend. Okay, all those high prices brought to you by the falling dollar. Okay, not to mention the inflation. Okay, again, inflation and the falling dollar sucks for the American consumer. All right, because it makes all of our goods and services that we purchase as consumers more expensive. All right, but for the investor in all of us here, okay, it's a beautiful thing because that means more revenue coming in on the top line. Usually it means more earnings per share on the bottom line, okay, which means a higher price point when it comes to valuing the security. All right, So still in a downtrend like that. Okay, price close right here on this red candle. Okay, closed down here at 96.16 area yesterday. Okay, so there's U.S. dollar index in a bear flag, hopefully getting ready to produce another leg lower. We are at 3-year lows. Okay, the last time we were here was 2022 right here. Okay, last time we were here. Okay, so there's the U.S. dollar. Earnings calendar. This is the one I want to mention. This is the headliner for today after the close. Okay, Broadcom's going to report. Okay, $1.4 trillion. Hey traders, this is a market mover. Okay, this is one of those heavily weighted securities that's in the FNGU sometimes, in the QQQ and the SPY. Okay, so this is one of the heavyweights. This is capable of moving and ripping the markets or inspiring the markets to rip, run, or move. Okay, this would be a hedging situation. Okay, today we're going to go over in the topics. All right. Where is it? I got the pictures here. Okay, the topic: stop losing money, critical mistakes, and how to avoid them. Okay, well, that happens to be one of my mistakes. All right, that I want to mention to traders is not being properly hedged going into some economic events or earnings. Okay, not being properly hedged on something that could be a market mover. This is capable of being a market mover. Okay, so I'm just saying, not being hedged is a critical mistake. All right, just saying that so that you're aware in case they do a rip rally. All right, and I don't know, but they might do a rip rally based on Broadcom earnings tonight. Okay, we'll see. All right, they obviously pounding it all the way back up to the highs up here. We'll see what they have in store for us. Okay, that's $1.4 trillion. Okay, tomorrow, nothing but familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets right there. Okay, tomorrow and today we got motor vehicle sales. All right, Challenger job cut report at 7:30, ADP employment. I already discussed that with you. That's at 8:15. International trade goods and services, 8:30. Jobless claims, I already discussed that with you. Also 8:30. Productivity and cost, 8:30. PMI composite final, 9:45. ISM services index, 10 o'clock. A gas report, 10:30. And petroleum report at noon. Tomorrow, also another market moving event is the employment situation, and that's going to come out at 8:30. Okay, right there. All right, so we did the economic calendar, we did the dollar, we did the earnings, and what do we got here? Max Payne, 642 for SPY options today, with a put to call ratio of 1.1 put for each call that expires today. Okay, so markets are looking bullish. We just received some economic data. All right, we'll see what happens if they're going to run down there and tag the lows and make lower lows, or are they going to bounce off of support and re-challenge the highs? That's the question we're looking for today. Okay. All right, that's it for me for today, for this morning. Okay, I'll be back in like 35 minutes and we'll open up the markets. Thank you, everybody.